T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, my MACM people. Welcome to our MACM Make a Culture Move podcast. We're here, we cover everything from intense social topics to funny social trends. We are your hosts, Mark Jonathan,
Tabitha,
and G will be tapping in with us shortly, but let's get this show on the road. But before we get started, we have our brief disclaimer.
Okay, so, as you guys know, if you've been watching our podcast, we cover a lot of controversial issues and topics. And we just want to let you know that the opinions that we express here do not represent MACM as a whole. And we just would like for you guys to keep that in mind as you tune into our podcast.
Yes, indeed. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. I will be your first segment today. And today, a few podcasts back, I introduced the NFL Say Their Stories, where basically they take some police injustice and then tell the story on a national platform just to give it the exposure that it deserves. So this week's we have a defensive end and Anik Armstead. I hope I pronounced his first name right. He plays for San Francisco as of this year. And the story he has is of Stephen Clark. Have you heard of that story?
I have not.
Me neither. So this is going to be good for all of us.
Very enlightening.
I mean, we can go on ahead.
I like the fact that the NFL is doing this. I think that just shows, I don't know, they're not just bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into it.
The NFL Helmets program is an awesome program where it gives us an opportunity to shed some light on a social justice topic. I decided to shed some light on the murder of Quawan Charles, a young kid from Sacramento, where I'm from. And I want to keep his name alive and keep his legacy alive and continue to remind people of that tragedy that happened. He was a father of 2 sons. He was a grandson, a brother. He was a human being that had a promising future, a lot to look forward to in life, and that was cut short.
Shots fired, subject go.
The police officers mistook his cell phone for a gun. 2 officers fired 20 rounds, striking Quawan 8 times. 6 times were in the back. No one was charged with Quawan's murder. That murder hit close to home for me. I knew people related to him, and a lot of people were affected by that. The outrage from Quawan's murder is an outcry.
We must wake up to the injustices, not just out there, but also they're happening in our homes every day.
I wouldn't even say it's outrage. It's turned into frustration, anger, but it's really a deep sadness that you feel your life doesn't matter, that police can kill you and nothing be done about it. It's really a sad feeling. I feel more than anger and frustration. It may be displayed that way, but I think people are hurt that Black and brown people continue to be killed at the hands of police, and there's nothing that's really being done about it. My experience growing up in Sacramento, I could say overall has been a great experience. I love being from Sacramento, and I take pride in being from there. But, situations like the murder of Quawan Charles you're reminded of how unfairly people can be treated. The relationships between the police and the community aren't that great. And so that's something that I want to be a part of, trying to help solve and bring the police and the community closer together. In order for some change to happen there, you have to keep reminding people of the past victims so there won't be future victims. And that's where we're hoping to get to. And so when we say the names of the victims, we're keeping their name alive. We're reminding people to try to ensure that it doesn't happen in the future. Say his name, Stephon Clark.
Damn.
Yes, indeed. No, I just never heard that story before, so it's good. Like, that's the kind of the point of it, you know. The NFL players are using their platform, you know. They play professional football, so they just tell the stories that of people that can't tell their stories. So it was good to. I've never heard of this again, so I don't know how this slipped.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Wow, it's crazy that, like, you know, when somebody dies in the Black community, us as people of color, we tend to find out what happened to that person because, you know, it gets put on social media or, you know, other platforms such as that. But this one kind of was like one that I guess, I don't know if I missed the mark on or what happened, but yes, I just think that that's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, man, that just shows, it just makes you wonder, like, how many more stories just, like, slipped through the cracks or just didn't meet the exposure. You know, just wasn't simply recorded by somebody or anything like that. It's just sad to even imagine. Yeah. But, I want to see. IG.
Hello.
Yeah, we got G with us now. G, do you know the story of Stephon Clark?
I do not.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, we just went over it with that the NFL say their stories. And me and Tabitha haven't heard of his story either. But it was another black.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was another black male that was shot 8 times, but the police fired 20 shots and then mistook his iPhone or just a phone for a gun. So that's that story. But
it's never ending. It's never ending.
But shout out to the National Football League for putting out these people's stories, allowing their story to be told. And on a national platform so it gets the exposure that it deserves.
Yeah, but I couldn't imagine just being somebody that was killed, brutally murdered, because that's trauma for both the mother, the child, everybody. It's kind of like what they did back in the day when they used to take a male slave and rip him apart with a horse so that all the other slaves would see it. And that's something that's constantly being perpetuated in the news today. And like in general. So I think that us as people of color, man, we gotta like wake up and we gotta do what we can to get out of these situations. There's a reason. Like, it's crazy because a lot of times, I think what happens with people of color is we don't think of, you know, why do these situations continue to perpetually happen? And why? I mean, we're like, if you think about the Black community as a whole, we're people that really like believe in God, like more than any other race. But we never really think to ask the question of like, why is this happening? Why is God allowing this to happen? And so that's just something to take into a mind and to really think about, because, you know, everything happens for a reason. But yes.
Definitely. So yeah, again, just shout out to the NFL. But as we segue, we have a little bit of some Black poetry from my side. You know, the last couple of weeks, G has been incorporating that into our podcast. Now it's my turn to do so.
So what is this poem about?
No, so basically, it's on the overall theme of basically like say what the system really is and like how it's really portrayed in our community. So it's real cool. I like his overall message. I like how he what's the word? Like not necessarily acted out, but I just like how he delivered it. You feel me? I just like how he delivered his poetry. And it's powerful. Y'all are gonna see. So let's tap into this.
Okay, here we go.
I'm scared what to tell my kids, y'all. We live in a system that's designed for us to fail, and I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell them. When they get older, they're going to face a system that tells them there is no you. There is only who I want you to be. From your latest cell phones to the style seen in your most recent videos to my implementation of what you call swag. If you can't brag about how many women you have or the $200 denim on your butt, you are worthless. Your purse is not hot if it is a fall edition and we are in the winter. And as long as your kids have Jordans on their feet, it is okay if they have to eat top ramen for a week for dinner. Your check is in the mail. You fail at becoming grown men, so you don't bother with your younger ones. Give them to me. I'll program them to Viacom. Have them growing up with a single mom and extensive rap sheets and ADD with no off switch and download a defense that is nothing but false self-confidence shown through them being overly aggressive. Your misguided women want nothing but diamonds and Fendi, or dreams of finding a professional athlete to pay for their lives because to them being a wife is not a lifestyle, it is trendy. Trendy to have like a little black dog carried around in a bag. The deconstruction of your black woman and man are going according to plan. Flip the coin, and for those who have chose not to go down that road, make sure that any statement they make that may challenge their masculinity are followed by statements of insecurity. We can't have them thinking for themselves. Program dreams to be a mirage. Close enough to see, yet too far to reach. Set aesthetics too pathetic, aka camouflage. Allow them to blend in. Keyword trend. Downtown corners full of rappers who refuse to give up even though their stuff sucks, but will allow them to say their piece. At the very least, it'll make them a quick buck. Any more success initiate operation exploitation. Throw them a bit more cash. I am the system. Programmed to initiate commands. You Negroes, you people are programmed not to ask. Empty vessels who have sold their souls a long time ago, and you call me robotic. I am the system. Systematically set to just do. You are systematically set to just do and not think, and you call me robotic. Error, redundancy, error, repeat, error, redundancy, error, repeat. Pardon me. I was scanning your culture's current popular music. You want a cop to pay for killing one of you, but carry a no snitching policy in your own community, which allows you Negroes, you people to have absolutely no accountability. Irony overload, reset. I am the system. Systematically set to desensitize your senses, senseless activity surrounds your society, simultaneously making you love me while shaking in your boots. And for those who dare to overthrow me, allow me to remind thee, 'tis I who provides you with the land and seeds you use to grow your little grassroots. I am the system.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Now, just before we discuss it, I did want to talk about one thing that he said towards the end. where he said, "I am the system, systematically set to desensitize your senses, since senseless activity surrounds your society." You know, for me, that's a little bit of a tongue twister. But the reason I like that is it shows like how the system is designed to like literally slowly break us down. You feel me? And he chose to use the word desensitize. And he says that our society is constantly surrounded by things that only harm us. So yeah, that was just good to hear.
And it's, to me, it's nice to hear. Like, I love when Black men do poetry. I love it. I love it because I love when they talk about issues and things that affect them and are affecting our community as a whole, because a lot of times the media and popular persuasion likes to tell us that the Black man doesn't have a conscience and that he really doesn't think, that he just does. And so I think that that's deep, because like he says that women, they prepare themselves to be the wife of an NFL player, but not because they want to be a wife and what that role entails, but because it's a trending topic or it's a trending thing. It's a trend. And that's the thing. Like, for me, like being a wife is kind of like a way to break that cycle of just being a baby mama. Because my mom was definitely just a single mother, a baby mama. And I don't want that drama in my life. You know what I'm saying? I want to have a husband, you know, and being, the thing is, we look at other races of people, especially white people, and we like kind of like, oh, I wonder how they keep it together and stuff. Because they push us to have that independent mentality of we don't need a man and blah, blah, blah. But that's not true. We need our men. We need our men. And that comes with like being, and I love to say this. Not I hate to say this. I love to say this. We need to be willing to submit to our man, because every other race does it but us, because we're so strong-minded, so high-minded that we think we're better than our man because of the way that society does him. And we need to stop being like that. That shit is not okay. That's just all I have to say.
I think it has to be something worth submitting to. Not every man has qualities that you should submit to them. So I kind of disagree with that. I think if a man is doing his manly duties and is really out here doing what it takes to be a man, then yes, that is a man worth submitting to. But all these men are not worth that. They don't carry those characteristics of being a man worth submitting to. You have to I'm not submitting to a man that's sitting on his ass and ain't got no job and ain't working and can't provide for me, can't pay bills, can't teach me anything, can't help me grow as a woman. A man is supposed to help the woman grow, and a lot of these men are not doing that, and those are the men that are not worth submitting to. So you have to be worth being worth that submission. Like, not all men are worth that. But yeah, I do. I love seeing our Black men hit the poetry. It's definitely, I just love seeing it come from them. But I mean, he definitely touched on some valid points, like when he said, you know, we want justice when the police kill us, but we have that no snitching policy. And that's real. Like I say all the time, Black Lives cannot matter to anybody until it starts mattering to the Black community. And they don't matter to the Black community because we glorify and praise killing each other, right? Instead of being willing to recognize that that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem as to why everyone else thinks it's so okay for us to kill each other. Because we do it and we don't speak on it. We let it happen. We glorify it. We look for it to happen. We expect it to happen. But when everybody else is doing it to us, it's a problem. And it can't work like that. If we don't have an issue with us killing our own, we can't have an issue with anybody else killing us. Because how do we matter to us if we're glorifying our own people killing each other over BS? But anytime I say an eye for an eye, go kill a white person the same way a white person killed a Black person, that's too harsh. Like, no, No, like I'd honestly rather see my black people killing the oppressors than each other. Like y'all are always out here killing one another, glorifying it, praising it, making it something like it's something good out there. Like, you know, we just had 2 rappers who were just killed by their same race.
But I think what it is there's been like a fear that's been instilled in black people to the point where it's easier to kill someone that looks like you than it is to kill somebody that doesn't look like you. It's easier to kill that self-image, because when
it is, and that's what slavery has taught us. I say it all the time. Slavery worked. And if you don't think that slavery worked, then you are a part of the problem, because slavery worked. They put us, especially our men, they put our men against each other all the time,
right?
To kill each other, to fight each other, to beat each other to the death.
The system is set up though, because there's a point that you made that I do want to touch on. When you said that you have to have a man worth submitting to, then don't lay down with any man. That's the thing. If you're gonna lay down with someone, if you're gonna be with someone in a relationship with someone, then that person should meet a certain standard. That person should be employed. That person should be doing what a man's supposed to be doing in your eyes. So if you're going to marry someone, like really marry someone, you're committed to that person. And the way that the system is set up, it's not set up for people that look like us, especially the black man. It's easier to submit to what a black woman wants it to do, the system, because it's easier for a black woman to get an education. We're one of the most educated women on the face of the earth, black women. But the black man, that's not their reality, because the society is set up to entrap them and put them in a bad situation. So we just always got to remember that when it comes to the black man, that he has hurdles and trials and tribulations that us as black women will never experience. So that's why, like, I have a certain standard for the man that I want to be with, that I'm going to be with. And that's kind of like, if I'm not willing to submit to him, then I will never see the value. Don't do that. But that we have to have a higher level of consciousness when it comes to our men and what they're going through. Because if we don't value our men, what are we going to teach our daughters to not value men either? What are we going to teach our sons? Like, there's no value within yourself. You're not worth shit, just like your dad's not worth shit. And that's not the narrative that I'm trying to push.
Right, absolutely. And still, I stand on what I said. You have to be a man worth submitting to. And as a woman, you have to know what type of man that is that you want in your life. So, I mean, that's just that. You have to know what type of man it is that you want, what type of man it is that you want to pursue you. Because I tell women all the time, like, I don't chase men. The Bible tells me that he who finds a wife finds a good thing, not she who goes out looking. So I tell women all the time, I don't chase men. I don't encourage chasing men. If a man is putting you on the chase and the runaround, that's not the one for you. Because a man knows when he wants a woman. Period. That's just a fact. A man knows when he wants a woman he wants to pursue and be with. And that man is going to do what it takes to be with her. So you have to be a woman worth pursuing. You have to be a woman worth pursuing. You have to know your worth. You have to know your value, and you have to know what a real man looks like. And a lot of women coming from where I come from, we don't really know what that looks like. Because we didn't have those role models in our lives. So we have to start from what it is that we know and break those pieces and break it down, compartmentalize, be more patient, test the waters and figure it out. And learn the difference between a man that is worth submitting to and a man that is not worth submitting to, because not all men are worth submitting to, regardless of what it is that what they've gone through. Your morals, your characteristics, those things all play a part outside of the systematic oppression. Who you are as a person stands a lot of ground as to what type of person you're going to attract and pursue.
Right, but all that just goes to say, like, we just gonna segue into the next piece because this is something that the media is not really talking about, and I think that it deserves more attention, and that's why, like today, this is the only thing that I'm gonna be touching on because this is crazy. So we're gonna get into it.
Yes. As Tabitha said, hopefully you all have
Oh wow, I'm talking about this exact same thing.
exactly. But yeah, this will actually be what most of our podcast is centered on. But the death of or the disappearance and death of Quawan, goodness, his last name is slipping.
Charles.
Yeah, that's right. And a 15-year-old. I mean, we can just get into the video. Just disappearing. This is one of the things that we wish had more exposure, like what the NFL is doing.
This is BetMGM, where every snap is showtime. And right now, get $500 risk-free on your first bet.
I'm just like,
and the action doesn't stop
you
there. Just fire up the BetMGM app, place your bet on any of this week's games or hundreds of other matchups, then track your bet live. This is BetMGM, where every yard is a chance to win large. Download now and use the bonus code FOOTBALL.
That's why I don't mess with sports.
Detectives in Louisiana are investigating a black teenager's death as a homicide, but his family says police are not doing enough. Quawan Bobby Charles was 15 years old. He was found dead days after he was reported missing. Family members believe that officers did not take his disappearance seriously because of his race. There was no Amber Alert in this case, but police claim all procedures were followed. Our national correspondent, Jerika Duncan, spoke with the teenager's cousins and attorneys.
People are angry. People are upset.
Quawan Charles' cousin, Selena Charles, says her family wants answers in the 15-year-old's death and the investigation that followed. The Charles family says Quawan was picked up on October 30th by this woman, Janet Irvin, and her 17-year-old son. They allegedly picked him up outside his father's house in Baldwin, Louisiana. His parents say they didn't know the woman or her son and never consented to him leaving with them. When Quawan's family reported him missing, they say police brushed off their concerns and speculated Quawan was at a football game.
Do you believe race played a role in how this case has been investigated so far?
Most definitely, because they didn't notify the media. They didn't notify the community.
On November 2nd, the 15-year-old's body was found in a sugarcane field in Laurelville, 30 minutes from his home. The coroner's office says the teen likely drowned and had no injuries before his death. They also ruled that the wounds on his face happened after his death and were likely caused by aquatic animals. But according to the family's attorneys, the water in the sugarcane field is very shallow.
Those bodies of water barely go up to your knees. And so this isn't that Quawan trying to go for a swim.
The attorneys say Janet Irvin and her son have since packed up and left their home. Investigators say they have questioned the individuals believed to have been with Quawan before he disappeared and are actively tracking their whereabouts. Local activist Jamal Taylor helped the family raise over $250,000 through GoFundMe for the family to hire its own investigators and get a second autopsy.
I was particularly disappointed by the lack of response from police in the matter. And so I immediately said, we need to do something about this.
It shouldn't be incumbent upon the family to solve the crime of Quawan Charles.
Family members are now drawing similarities between Charles' injuries and Emmett Till.
This is why the Bible says never trust your enemies, period. Never trust them. Never trust them. Never trust them.
Just like the whole, like the Amber Alert aspect, that's important because I swear at least in the Denver area, even as much as a stolen vehicle, you'll get an Amber Alert. A little girl goes missing, Amber Alert. But just no notifying the media at all.
I'm sorry. I don't like for people under what's the age? I think it might be 21. when you report someone missing, it's supposed to be immediate investigation. Immediate investigation. There's supposed to be an Amber Alert placed out. Now, I know in some counties, in some states, the age range is different. I think it's like under a certain age is when they do the Amber Alerts, because some counties consider the Amber Alerts only for young children, like 10 and under. But it's when someone goes missing, if it's reported, like, especially for a child, like my child is missing. I don't know where my child is at. My child has not come home. I cannot contact my child. I have not heard from my child. That child is missing. And it needs to be an immediate investigation. And the fact that they blew that off is just disheartening, especially for the mother. Like, that's disheartening. But it's like, I tell kids all the time, you know, your parents need to know who your friends are. Period. It is important for your parents to know who your friends are, who you are hanging out with, who you are spending time with. So if something happens to you, they have a standard book of people that they can contact. They know those people. You are not ever supposed to go and be with someone who, as a child, your parents do not approve of. If your parents do not approve of you being with people, you shouldn't be with them.
Guilty of that.
Definitely guilty of that. You know, definitely guilty of that. And it's so important. The older I get, the more I realize it, you know, because it's just like those certain rules were set in place for a reason. And, you know, it's so unfortunate just to know that this young man was killed. And just being found in a sugarcane, like, it's just all racistness in the whole story. Like, from the white mom and her 17-year-old boy picking him up.
Right. And this is kind of like a good segue to what I'm going to talk about, because I'm literally like, this is all I'm going to focus on, because I feel like this is a heavy topic and it needs a lot more attention than what the media is giving them. That's the name. The news isn't talking about it. And so therefore we are, because that's just not, it's not, I'm just going to get into this is just a good segue. I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, that wasn't quite 10 years ago.
So I have an article.
Oh, that was way past 10 years ago. I'm sorry. I'm thinking 2011.
Okay. So this is a good segue into what I'm gonna be talking about. Yeah. So this is an article. I like reading articles because you get a little bit more details and more information. But because I feel like the news, they glare over certain stuff. And I'm definitely going to get into like what his mother's response was, because seeing how she reacted to the media and everything was just kind of like good to know. So what happened to Quawan Charles? I don't know how to say his name, unfortunately. Quawan Charles, Bobby Charles, a quiet 15-year-old who loved outdoors and his dog. My baby went missing in rural Louisiana on October 30th. His body was discovered days later in a sugarcane field, 20 miles. So this person was in a car from his home. The sheriff's department told his family that the boy was drowned. Okay, so there's a little bit of a detail that they tried to say that he wasn't. That, I don't know. Anyway, Charles' family was drowned, so that means somebody was there drowning him. Charles' family called the claim bogus and says the photo shows Quan's face was horribly disfigured when he was found. They believe his death could have been racially motivated and that law enforcement failed to act in the hours after they reported their son missing. 2 weeks after Quan went missing, the Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office reported a statement saying that they are investigating suspicious circumstances.
How many kids did you have?
And Quan's parents are still looking for answers. We believe that if he had been a different color, that it would have been taken more seriously. So that kind of goes into like, you know, Just everything. He went missing on October 30th. Bam. He wasn't found until November the 3rd. His body was discovered on November the 3rd. Bam. Like 4 days. Like 4 days later. No one, no one is officially being investigated yet, but police are investigating his death as a homicide. You damn right it's a homicide. Quawan's family says police did not act quickly enough after his disappearance. Of course not. So those are a few things, and to kind of put a little bit more of an image to what we're talking about, I found this image on TMZ, which normally, and viewer discretion is advised, because this video, I mean, this image is very gruesome, and but I think that is something that needs to be shown, because when Emmett Till got murdered, his mother was like, open the casket, because the people need to see what these people did to my baby. And that's what I feel like happened with this one. I feel like his mom was like, yes, people need to see what happened to my child. And it's crazy because there's this saying, what goes around comes around. This literally happened before. There's nothing. There's a scripture in the Bible that says that there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new. There's no new oppression, no new murder, no new way that they discard our bodies. There's nothing new about it. They discarded Emmett Till's body by a body of water. And they did this little boy the same exact way. Nothing is changing. And nothing is going to change until we as a people begin to change. And that is so real. Nothing's going to change until we change. And I'm like, this is making me angry, because look at when you see this little boy's face, like, bro, come on, man. Look at his face. Look at his face. He has like a gash up here. They're saying that aquatic animals did this to his face. Hell to the no. What kind of animals is this in a damn sugarcane field that's gonna do this little boy's face like this?
In a pond.
In a pond, really.
Not a lake, not a river, not an ocean, not a gulf, in a pond.
That right there, just like kind of take that in. Because that right there, like that could be any one of our sons, any one of our little brothers, any one of our family members, man. Any one of our family members. That's tragic. Like, imagine like what he was going through, the pain that he felt. That's
just a guess in that article. It said, you know, in several articles that I read, they said that they don't have any leading suspects or anything like that yet. But I'm just trying to figure out how not. How is not this white woman and her 17-year-old son a suspect, and they have fled the state,
packed up their house
and have fled the state since have last been seen with him. These were the last people that this 15-year-old boy was seen with, and he comes up missing and dead, and they have packed up their home and fled the state, and they're not suspects in a homicide case. Let's talk about white supremacy at its prime.
Exactly. I don't know if you guys have seen this show. It's called Gods of something, Gods of America or something like that. Where like basically like there's all these different gods, and there's the God of the oppressed, and he was talking about how black children are snatched with no Amber Alert, no nothing. I think his name was Mr. Dainty or Mr. Lainty or something like that. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how they do our children, man. It's crazy. This like, man.
Emmett Till was 14. Like, just put all your pieces together. Emmett Till was 14. History does nothing but repeat itself, and the only reason why it's continuing to repeat itself because we are not doing anything about it to make those changes. White people don't know what it's like to have their faces beaten off and kidnapped and killed from their families. Emmett Till was took out of his uncle's home. They came to his uncle's home and took him. These white people came to Quawan's home and picked him up.
And it says like if I would have read a little bit more deeper into the article, it says that no one No one gave that woman permission to come pick up her son.
No one.
That right there should give them like at least some sense to hold her, find her something. A warrant should be issued.
That's kidnapping. You didn't have permission to take my child. That is kidnapping. You kidnapped my child.
Right though,
that is kidnapping. Right? That's absolutely right. So, and yeah, and his father, just so you know, when you see this video, his father is white. Or he might be Mexican. I'm not 100% sure, but he looks white. He had a face mask on, so I wasn't 100% sure. But his stepfather was like, yeah, I went to the store and they came and picked my son up. So I'm just kind of like, this is crazy. So we're going to get into this other video that kind of shows his mother's reaction to everything, because I feel like that's a piece that has kind of been left out, which is the mother's reaction to it all. And I like literally my condolences go out to the family, and I hope that they get some type of justice in all this, which I really highly doubt is going to happen, because when stuff like this happens, rarely does anyone ever get held accountable. So yeah, I just kind of want to go ahead and dive into this.
And again,
use discretion is advised. You're gonna see that image. I hope that when y'all go to sleep, when y'all close your eyes, y'all seeing this little boy's face all disfigured, and that it really messes with you. I really hope so, and that it really sticks with your conscience, so that you know that before you let your kids go anywhere, you need to know who they're going with, and never trust the same people that are oppressing you. Because like I keep saying over and over and over again, we're living in some crazy times right now, and the fact that you guys are trusting people after all the videos that we watch and all the information that is out there of how these people are doing us, especially how they said they're going to do us after Donald Trump lost the election. Y'all think that this quote unquote race war hasn't been taking place for hundreds of years, and y'all are still trusting the same people that are doing you dirty. It's crazy. It's crazy. And like Daddy L said over here, he said their track record shows this. Exactly. It shows this. They have a horrible track record.
Right. Murder, injustice.
Right.
Kidnapping, terrorism.
Terrorism. Who's about to hit this play button?
Drowned. He was found face down in a creek, they said, but images of his body began circulating the internet and told a totally different story. So let's get into these news clips, and then I'm going to come back and give you some more details on the situation.
He loved me and I loved him.
I wasn't trying to
15-year-old boy found dead in a field. His family wants answers about what happened. The boy's body was found in that field near Laurelville on Monday, 3 days after he was reported missing from his home in Baldwin. Right now, investigators in Iberia Parish are saying too much about the case, and it's waiting to report. The boy's family has a lot of questions.
Family and friends of Quawan Charles gathered outside the family home to remember him, including his heartbroken mother.
I've been crying through all the day. I wake up in the middle of the night crying. I'm missing my son. I'm missing his mom. I'm missing his little jokes.
Roxanne Nelson says she hasn't been told very much about how her son died.
My son has a big knot on his head, so it's obvious that someone hit him in the head with something.
Family members say Quawan was last seen leaving his house with a friend and his friend's mom.
I want the lady that can't get my son without my permission and his dad's permission to be held accountable. That's right. You cannot just take somebody's son, bring him to your house, and not be held accountable for them because he was in her custody. So now he's dead. He left here alive and well, and now he's dead when he went to Laurelville to her house.
He was found dead under mysterious circumstances, and we just want justice for him, and we just want a thorough and honest investigation with Iberia Parish Sheriff's Department.
In Baldwin, Katie Easter, KTC, TV3.
Their teenage son was found dead in a cane field.
But yeah, so all that kind of just goes to show that these people really don't give a damn, and they're just like we need to start giving a damn about each other. That's just that bottom line. Black Lives Matter and all these other liberation movements, like, until you guys really start making Black Lives Matter to Black people, nothing's going to change. Nothing. If you can't, like I was saying earlier, I'm not changing what I'm saying. I'm not changing what I'm saying. If you don't love and value your brothers, you're not gonna love and value other people. You're not gonna love and value yourself. If you don't love and value yourself, you're not gonna love and value people that look like you. So yeah.
This is why we tell my baby brother all the time, when he goes out and plays with his friends, we stress it. Don't go into anybody's home, nobody's, but we stress it, especially with his white friends. Do not, I don't care if they invite you in. I don't care how nice they are. I don't care how cool their parents seem. You have zero permission from your guardian, your parent, to step inside of their home. You are not allowed to go inside their house. I don't care if you got to pee, you better find a bush or a tree.
If you got to go number 2, you better poop behind a bush and use a leaf.
Exactly. I don't care what the circumstances is. You do not have that permission. And we're going to be touching on his story until he gets justice, because the police really is not doing anything to get him that. And I mean, you just read the articles and watch the videos and listen to the responses, like, Black men, y'all were 15 once. Just imagine. Or you are 15, or you're getting ready to be 15. I just keep thinking, like, what was going on in his head? His last moments of life. It's just,
I should have stayed home. I should have never trusted you. That's what I'm telling people. Like, stop trusting people that are oppressing you. These people that you are trusting may not be personally taking participation in your oppression, but they're complacent with it. They're living in it. They benefit off of it. So what do you look like?
You cannot be my oppressor and my savior at the same time.
Yes. So, Mark, what you got to say, man? Because you're a Black man, and I just want to know. I just want to know what your thoughts are.
Like G said, I was 15 just 5 years ago, so it's just like this could literally be me, one of my homies, cousins, friends, etc., and just the fact that it's almost so similar to Emmett Till that happened decades, and the fact that we're still going through some of the same issues, having some of the same conversations on the injustice and protecting our people, what we should do with our people. Just the fact that it seems like continuous, that even if we had rights to say, we're still going through and still being treated unequal. We couldn't even get an Amber Alert within 4 days. So that just, like my coworkers have already stated, it's just a level of injustice. And like they said, again, you cannot be my oppressor and my savior at the same time. And it just sucks that, this boy that probably just looking to go out, have fun, is no longer with us.
Have fun with somebody that looks like you, though. Because I don't see this happening.
Exactly.
I don't see this happening, and I don't see another black person. We hate watching our own kids. So what do we look like? I don't even know.
It's the sugar cane for me. It's something so symbolic about it, because what a lot of people don't know is that our ancestors used to pick sugar cane too. You feel me? It's a field. That's one of the things that we used to pick, and one of the products that we used to supply back in the day, So, and then it's like, you look at where you're at, Louisiana, right? Louisiana still has plantation fields.
So does Georgia.
Throughout it. So, those are certain things you have to take into account, especially living in those states. If you're not brutally implementing that history into your Black children, there's a problem.
You need to check yourself.
Not just in February.
Not just in February, January to December, January 1st to December 31st, year round. I don't care if it's 365 days or 366 days. You are to be brutally implementing Black history into your children, especially when you live in states such as. They need to know these things. They need to be aware and educated on these things. I'm not saying put fear into them. Put that education and that knowledge into them so that they know and they could be more aware.
Right. Well, let's segue into your next piece. We're going to be talking about this for a minute. So go ahead.
My article was about Charles. It was about Quawan Bobby Charles. And I mean, we kind of. You could open it up. I could read some paragraphs that talk about things that we didn't cover already. Most of it we've already covered. So
look at his face.
Look at his face. Look at those eyes. Go ahead. Scroll down some. Let's see. Okay, scroll just as we do. Scroll. Okay, so go up a little bit.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so it says, just as we do in any case involving someone found deceased in this manner, we immediately begin treating this as a homicide investigation at the very moment we found Quawan Bobby Charles, said the sheriff. The sheriff's office also said that it had not been alerted. Listen to this, y'all. The sheriff's office also said that it had not been alerted to Charles' disappearance until November 3rd, when one of his parents contacted the office. Charles' mother had initially reported him missing to her local police department in the town of Baldwin, and the department then notified the local sheriff's office in St. Mary Parish. It was not immediately clear why the sheriff's office and St. Mary Parish didn't alert authorities in nearby Iberia Parish where Charles's body was found. Scroll down. Okay. Investigators reviewed video evidence from an area near where Charles' body was found that showed him on camera before his death and no one else with him. And that's just weird to me. When he was with these two people and then he ends up alone. That's suspicious.
How far was he from his house?
20 miles.
And where was the surveillance at? How far from his house was the surveillance?
The surveillance was near the sugarcane field.
See what I'm saying?
Right. And so, a lawyer for the family, Chase Trishel, said Sunday that he was heartened that the sheriff's office was investigating Charles' death as a homicide. No able-bodied 15-year-old is going to drown in ankle-deep water without some outside influence that contributed to his death. Period. The water that was in the sugarcane field was only ankle-deep. Ain't no way he's going to drown in that on his own account.
And why is nobody talking about his injuries though? Like,
well, exactly. Let's scroll down some. Okay, now this. Still, he said that neither the family nor their lawyers have heard from the Iberia Parish Sheriff Thomas Romero about possible leads, theories, and other findings, despite a request Friday for a meeting. A spokesperson for the sheriff could not immediately say if Romero would meet with them. That's suspicious. That's weird. All I want to do is meet with y'all and find out what leads y'all have on my son's suspicious death. And you can't even give me the courtesy, the respect, the audacity to give me any type of response.
Right. And not only that, but you're like, this is why I feel like, yes, the police are in a part of the KKK. Like, yes, they're KKK members. They like these white supremacy groups, 9 times out of 10, this little boy, his so-called friend, and his mom were low key in some type of white supremacy group, white supremacy movement, something. So, or they probably had no idea what was going on. They went out and about to go get something. He went his own little way, and these people got him, and she knew exactly what was going on. She seen these people snatch him up. Members that are in the damn police department took part in his murder, and therefore, because they know that they're going to be guilty, I'm just angry. I'm like, this scares me because I'm like I'm going to have children in the future, right? And my children's father is going to be a brown, aka black man. And this could happen to my children. This is scary to me. I can't.
I just want to bring up the part where they said that the police weren't notified or whatever by November 3rd. Like, even if that was the case, which I don't think it was, there was still no Amber Alert put out on November 3rd. So
exactly.
Even stating that, to say that you still didn't do your job, or
that you still failed to protect and serve.
They always fail to protect and serve.
Every time.
At this point.
Every time. But y'all want us to have so much faith in y'all.
Shoot, you cannot be my oppressor and my savior at the same time. I'm sticking with that.
And you won't be. And you absolutely won't be. So the last thing that I want to share, I wanted to share this poem. It's called When a Black Man Walks. And I think this, it relates to Quawan. It relates to all of our Black men. I wanted to do this poem because of his story. So
I just watched it.
I've never seen this video, so I'm interested to see what it's gonna be about.
Yes, this is by Neil Israel. So
yeah, Israel on the plantation. I think I just accidentally exited out of this, but yeah, I think that's wild, and I think this is gonna definitely help to, be a little bit of relief from the heavy stuff we've been going over. So
yes,
here we go.
You ever see a Black man walk? It's like rhythm and meter got up off the page and decided to move and glide with spirit. You ever see a Black man walk in the room, Mars? It's cold style like keep tap dancing. I'm here. In those steps of messages, and you have to listen carefully. They trying to kill me. Stop searching, frisk me. There are prayers in a Black man's walk. Don't let them shoot me down where I'm standing. Don't let the white chalk lines find me. Don't let me die in the streets like an animal. I'm a man. I swear I'm a man. When a Black man walks, a whole generation lives to see another day, another sunrise, another mouth to feed, another seed, another sacrifice saved, another poem, another hungry burning cross, another mother breathing in her son's ear. Move easy, move quiet. Keep your head down, boy. Don't matter if you're 16 or 60. When a Black man walks, he is always hunted. He is always animal. He is always standing out like a living corpse. He smells like a KKK appetizer. Nuggets of his own flesh dipped in his own blood. Woo-wee! When a Black man walks, he often finds white women walking closely behind him. But you can't blame a white sister for liking the way a Black man walks. She understands some things and is cool with the fact that her babies will have nappy hair, even though she will not know how to comb it. When a Black man walks, wait for it. Listen to the orchestra playing beneath his feet. Pay attention to the vibrations when he walks in a room. See how many faces change to fear in the presence of a Black man. See how many women hold their purse so tight their fingers grow numb. See how many men hide their eyes, wishing the darkness would go away. Maybe choke itself to death. That ugly 2/3 human being, that next to nothing Black dot, that useless prison black spot. When a Black man walks, every day he is like Jesus, paranoid of crucifixion. Every day he is like Trayvon, knowing that his hoodie had nothing to do with his last breath. If only bullets could kill racism, poverty, and the traumas of slavery. You pay attention when a black man walks. You listen when a black man walks. His feet have a mind of their own, a compass, a homing device. 400 years of directions. Find your way home safely. Don't let Jim Crow steal your soul. Don't let gentrification lose your memory. Don't let police brutality castrate you. Do what your mama said do. Run, run, run when their teeth are already covered in blood. Do what your mama said do. Run, run, run when the black man walks. He ain't got time to walk. Death is always like, black men are the easiest to find. They are the strongest but the most fragile. They are the calm and the storm. They die like they expect to. When a black man walks, think of it as a masterpiece, a beautiful song that you may only hear once. Cherish it. You may never hear it again.
I gotta save that for my records.
Yeah, y'all. So if that didn't give y'all chills, then you know she just touched on so many different things. You know, it is so important that our black men know that they are valued and respected. So I just, you know, just thinking of saying that, I don't know if any of y'all watched the show Blackish, one of my favorite shows. And one of the episodes is, I think it's a Thanksgiving episode. Bo is making her husband's plate. And, you know, Bo's family is white. And, you know, they ask, like, why are you making his plate? He's not a man. He's a man. He can make his own plate. Like, you don't have to, why are you serving him? You don't have to serve him. Y'all are supposed to be equals. And Dre's grandmother says, you know, I never made my husband's plate because I felt like I was serving him. I made my husband's plate because I wanted him to feel like a king. I wanted him to feel worthy. I wanted him to feel valued. He goes out when he leaves his house, he goes out into the world with a target on his back. And everybody is against him. And so why do I want him to come home and feel like that same target is on his back? I want my black man to come home and feel like he is a king, because in the streets, he is not treated as such. But in my home, he will be. And that's the end of that. And I respect that so much, because it's a simple gesture as making him a plate to eat as he sits down and relaxes from his hard day of being a black man. Our black men deserve to feel loved. Our black men deserve to feel valued. Our black men deserve to feel worthy. And she touches on that in so many different ways in this one poem. When a black man walks, cherish it, because you may not get it again. Quawan can never walk again. He will never have the opportunity to stride as a black man ever again, because his life was taken from him, stolen from him. Emmett Till didn't get to walk for too long before his life was stolen and taken from him. Trayvon Martin, his life was taken as he was walking as a black man. I don't care how anybody feels. Our black men deserve to feel like they are more than just a target.
That's what I'm saying. That's why when I was saying earlier, that whole submission piece is very, like, that's whether we see it as being submissive or not. That's the thing, like, of valuing your man in a world that gets to tell him how he needs to move, how he should move, and all that. When he walks into his house, aka his palace, he should be able to reign as the king of that house, because that's where he's allowed to be a king. That's it. It goes back to that original thing where it says that women want to be a wife just because it's a trending topic, rather than actually playing the role of a wife, not a girlfriend, not a side piece, not somebody that he just hits every other week. Not a friend with benefits. None of that. It's a wife. A wife. Not that you're not. Yes, a man that gets a wife gets a great thing. Yes, that's true. But there's also scriptures that say that he that getteth a wife gets a possession. We're a possession. We're his. That's it. There's no in between. There's no you belong to me and I belong to you. I belong to you. So I'm gonna do whatever to make you happy, because in this world, I know the shit that you have to face when you walk outside of this door. And I know that when you leave this house, I'm just happy to see you in this house when you make it back to this house, because there's a chance that you won't make it back to this house. Because again, you leave this house with a damn target on your back. You leave this house with the world gunning against you. So me being the woman in the house, your woman, I'm not gonna come for you in that same manner. Yes, we slip and we fall and we make mistakes, but that doesn't mean that we should be gunning for the person that's also being gunned down in the streets, coming for each other. I don't think so. I don't know what you think about that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the men should be treated as king of the not. But yes, like, because men, as they just go throughout their day, are treated so poorly, it's necessary that they should be treated as kings, as you all have already stated. But I mean, I guess that's really all I have to add on the end of that. Are we all good to conclude?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Everything we talked about today was heavy, other than the whole, NFL tell their story thing. But again, remember Quawan Charles, man. Remember that little boy. And again, when you go to sleep, I want you to see his face and remember what he looked like. And remember that this was one of our brothers that was walking the street that just got taken out like he was nothing. So that's definitely what you want.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As my coworker said, so initially we started with our NFL Say Their Stories. We'll try to bring that to you every week, if not, then every other. And then we had 2 pieces of Black poetry for us today, both powerful. We had our initial questions in Quawan Charles' disappearance, and then that heavy topic throughout our podcast. And then we ended it with some more Black poetry. But yes, that is all. That will conclude our MACM podcast. Please tune in, tap back in with us Friday for our culture, our Pro Friday. Hopefully we'll bring you some more Black poetry. And then, yeah, that is our Make a Culture Move podcast. Y'all subscribe to
We have our workshop this week for the kiddies ages 8 through 14. If you have not already, sign them up for the workshop this week, teaching them about financial literacy, chess, their culture, and giving them the opportunity to make some money of their own. So if you have not signed your child up already, go ahead and do that.
Can you go ahead and repeat that for us one more time? You said we can make some money.
You can make some money. You can make some money, like some of your own money, not your parents' money that they give you out of the wallet, but your own money.
Right, exactly. If you guys need any more information on that, please check into our Make a Chess Move page. It's on all of our pages, our virtual artist storytelling, Make a Culture Move, and then our facilitators pages as well. But with that being said, y'all MACM out there. And
y'all MACM. Be safe. Be safe.
Please be safe.
Please be safe.
A lot of tragedies going on.
Save our children.
Exactly. And the story of Stephon Clark. I was sad to not know about it. But
yes.
Yes, indeed. That will conclude. Y'all MACM out there.
Bye.